Hey, what is up guys? Today we have some pretty exciting news. We finally have the first Players Kai Final Fantasy VII Rebirth figures. So we have Cloud Strife and Yuffie. This is the first Yuffie figure that we've had in this outfit. They did make a Yuffie figure from the Intermission DLC, but I think this was the version which we were all waiting for. And we also have the first Rebirth Cloud Strife, which seems to be the same figure, but as you can see, it comes with an extra head sculpt. So it's a little bit different compared to the remake version. But anyhow, super excited to see these figures, so let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the Cloud Strife. So as I mentioned, it seems to be pretty similar to the remake Cloud Strife. The only difference is that it comes with an extra head sculpt. So as for the release date, it's going to be January 2025. So quite a bit of time to wait, but it's just around the corner. I mean, it's already June 2024, which is pretty insane. I feel like this year is going by so fast. Rebirth is already 4 months old, which is pretty insane. But yeah, the release date for this figure is January 2025. So yeah, just a few more months to go. So here's a look at the figure as a whole, and as I mentioned, it's pretty much the exact same figure as the remake Cloud Strife, but as you can see we have this angry expression on the face, which we've never had a Cloud Strife with this type of head sculpt, so you know, I think this head sculpt's pretty good. And here we just have a close-up on the face of the figure. It's a pretty nice sculpt. I mean, I probably wouldn't display the figure with this head sculpt. I generally like to display my figures in a very normal pose, but I think it's a great addition to include, and it's really good for action poses if you're displaying the figure in dynamic poses. So even though I don't plan to display the figure with this head sculpt, I'm still very happy that they included this. And as for the rest of the figure, it pretty much seems to be, you know, the exact same as the previous remake Cloud Strife. Seems to have the same head sculpt, same body, pretty much everything is the exact same except for the extra head sculpts. I think most of you guys probably already have the remake version of Cloud Strife, so we're very familiar with how the figure is. And here's just a final overview of everything that comes with the figure. We have the figure, a couple pairs of hands, the Buster Sword, and the extra head sculpts. And of course the Players Kai stand. So yeah, that is the Rebirth Cloud Strife. Okay, so next up, let's take a look at the Rebirth Yuffie, which is the figure that I'm most excited for. This has been a figure which we've been waiting for such a long time for, and I've got to say it looks absolutely fantastic. I love Yuffie in the game and she was one of my favorite characters, so yeah, I am definitely going to pick up this figure. Okay, so as I mentioned before, they did previously make the Intermission DLC Yuffie, which I mean was a pretty good figure, but I don't know, I just wasn't interested in picking this figure up. It's a very simple design, and you know, it's not the iconic look of Yuffie, so I decided to give this figure a pass. And I'm really happy that I waited because I think this new version looks much better. So now, the release date is going to be a bit longer than the Cloud Strife. It's going to be in April 2025, which is actually a very long time away. It's almost going to be 1 year, if you take into consideration, you know, how long it's going to take to ship the figure. So yeah, I probably wouldn't expect to see this figure until maybe May, even June 2025. The release date isn't always set, and it can change anytime, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's take a look at the figure, and I've got to say, this is such a nice looking piece. I would say this is probably one of the best looking Players Kai figures that I've ever seen. I don't know what it is, but I think the sculpting and the paint job, and just everything about the figure looks perfect. I think Players Kai really put a lot of effort into this figure. I think they're trying to step up their game, since there's so many third-party figures and statues out there of Final Fantasy VII. And here we have a nice close-up on the figure, and just look at the sculpting work, look at the texturing inside the shirt piece. I just think they put a lot more effort into this figure compared to all the previous remake figures. And of course, here we have the figure holding the materia, which you know, is a pretty iconic trait of the character. So yeah, I'm very happy that they included this. And as for the head sculpt, I would say the likeness is pretty good. It does look a lot like Yuffie from the game. So you know, I've really got no complaints with the head sculpt. I think it looks pretty spot on. I mean, just everything about this figure is pretty much perfect. I've really got no complaints. And here we have the figure in an action pose, and it seems like the figure is also going to come with an extra head sculpt, which is really nice to see. Just like the Cloud Strife, if you're displaying the figure in some dynamic poses, then you know, these head sculpts would be perfect. So I'm not going to complain about the exposed joints. I think Players Kai have probably done the best that they can do here. Check out the sculpting on the arm, like all these pieces of armor. I'm just very impressed with this figure, and it's turned out a lot better than I imagined. I really cannot wait to see how it stands next to the remake figures. I think it's going to look amazing to see the whole lineup of the whole party. And I really hope that they make a Vincent and a Sid. I think those figures will be coming next. So yeah, lots of exciting figures on the way. And you guys can be sure that once they announce those figures, I will be sure to make an update video. So be sure to keep a lookout on the channel. But anyhow, here's the back of the figure. We have some nice detailing on the back of the sculpt. You can take a nice look at the shuriken. Seems to have a nice sculpt, nice paint. Yes, very nice. And these are all the accessories that come with the figure. So we have an extra head sculpt, we have a couple pairs of hands, we have a hand holding the materia, and of course we have the shuriken. And this is just a look at everything that comes with the figure. So of course we have the figure itself, we have a couple pairs of hands, the shuriken, and the PlayArts Kai stand in the back. And here's the final product in the white background. You can tell that this is actually the figure in hand, and it looks very nice. I'm just so excited for this figure and I really cannot wait to pick it up. What about you guys? Are you going to pick this up? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to have a lot more videos on the way on upcoming Final Fantasy VII figures and statues. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to ring that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on all these updates. Thank you guys for watching and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy guys.